Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 1009 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today, I'm going to talk to you about college and why I feel for most people nowadays it's a mistake. And I'll have a link for you with all kinds of resources that if you followed them would save you literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, either you or your loved ones. So this is episode 1009. Hope you didn't miss episode 1008. That was a little bit different than I usually do, but it was on how hydration can help your brain function. And we sit a lot in front of these computers. It helps my back pain. After just 2 days after I started hydrating, my back pain went away. It's been gone for a month and not even a twinge. All right. So check that out at 1008. Anytime you want to get to a back episode, you go to screwthecommute.com/ and then the episode number. That was 1008. All right. Pick up a copy of my automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free. It's version 3.0. So if you have version 2.0, then throw it away and grab this current version, which has got a lot of upgrades in it. So screwthecommute.com/automate free. Check out my mentor program at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, the longest running, most successful, most unique ever in the field of internet and digital marketing. And in conjunction with that, I have the only licensed dedicated internet and digital marketing school in the country, imtcva.org. All right. Now, the link that I want you to keep track of, and it'll be in the show notes, is screwthecommute.com/anti-college. Not anti-on college, anti-college. Now, this episode may seem a little self-serving because I do want you or your loved ones to sign up for my school. And so, naturally, I'm going to rag on colleges, okay, because I see what they're doing to kids. But anyway, if you go to that link, you'll see that I'm not the only one preaching this. And if you're behind the times and you have been brainwashed for 100 years, your kids have to go to college or you have to go to college, guess what? You're missing the boat, folks. This is just not the way it works anymore if you want to be successful and not be loaded with debt. And first of all, I got to tell you, I'm a believer in education. Absolutely. But I am not a believer in learning how to protest, partying, and running up hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and coming out with no usable skills and competing for jobs at Starbucks. That's what I'm not about, all right? And like I said, if you go to that link, screwthecommute.com/anti-college, people inside the system are writing books about how worthless college is for most people. Yeah. So I know if you're certain fields, there's no choice. You have to go to college. But I got to tell you, you could be going to a college and going to my school and getting usable skills to help pay for your college. All right. So check that out. screwthecommute.com/anti-college. There's a 90-minute webinar on there that could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands. Okay. And guess what? It just came out in the news this past week that they're cracking down. Biden, I don't care where you are in politics, but Biden promised to forgive student loans. Well, everybody knew that was not going to happen unless you're a moron. It was not going to happen. So they just announced that I think 2.3 million people are going to get their wages garnished to start paying their loans back. All right. So this is a very serious thing. All these colleges are getting rich. They have endowments. Like, look at Harvard, 50-some billion dollars they got in the bank, and they're crying that they need money from the government. All right. So they're not in the best interest of the students. All the highly educated idiots that run those places are just for power, and they're woke, and the kids aren't getting what they deserve as a good quality education. All right. But anyway, for many of you kids and parents, like I said, you've been brainwashed for 100 years that I got to send my kid to college. And a lot of you probably have pressure from your neighbors that say, that you're a bad parent if you don't send your kids to college. Well, screw them. Screw them. All right. Let them send their kid in, then bail him out of jail when he gets arrested because he's a member of Antifa or something. All right. And some of the statistics you're going to see on that webinar and all the books that are written about this is, listen to this. The average student is spending less than 8 hours a week, 8 hours a week on going to class, preparing for class, and studying. And you think I didn't make that up. That's they surveyed like thousands of kids. And the rest of the time is spent partying, eating, and shopping. Right? So I'm sure you want to mortgage your house to pay for that kind of crap, right? Wake up, people. Please wake up. Now, I don't care what you think of me. Wake up. You're out of touch if you just keep pushing your kid to college. That's the bottom line. They're getting out, and a lot of the very tiny percentage, and all of the things I'm telling you are from people inside the education arena, well-respected people inside the education arena, saying these things. I'm just regurgitating them because it makes a good play for why you should go to my school or some kind of trade school. I mean, think about this. When a kid can go to an electrician trade school, come out and start at $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 with no student debt, or go and take general studies at a college and wonder what they're going to major in and get out in some stupid thing that nobody wants, and then have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and be out of the work market for 4 years. Which makes more sense? If you have half a brain out there, even a quarter of a brain, you would know that it's better if that kid belongs in trade school and has got something that's in demand, makes a lot of money, and keeps them out of debt. All right. So if you think it's better that they're in debt with no skills, and just because you think they're intellectual, well, you're an idiot. You're one of those highly educated idiots. Okay. Another thing that came out of all the studies is that only a tiny percentage of students actually use what they learned in college in their job. Okay. So again, a good reason why waste the time and money to do it. You could go be a welder and blow away any kind of entry-level salary and then grow it to, some of them $180,000, $200,000 a year as a welder. All right. Now, my school is internet marketing, and that's considered by the Department of Labor a vocation, right? And the kids are on the computer anyway all day long. Why not make money doing it? We have people making money before they even graduate. Here's another thing. This just came out. I just saw a video on YouTube where this recruiter, I think he's a career counselor, and he surveyed a whole load of hiring managers in corporations. Guess what? They don't want to hire new people out of college graduates anymore. They call it the Gen Z generation. And here's a bunch of the things that there's, and guess what? When they do hire them, the reason they don't want to hire them anymore, a ton of them are getting fired within 6 months. Because here's the reasoning that they gave. They're entitled. They have no skills. They have no technical skills. Now that was an odd one that the career counselor even was wondering about, because they all grow up with computers and stuff, but they don't really have any technical skills. They know how to get on Instagram, but they can't do anything technically. They're late. And this is funny because I've had Gen Z people on this podcast, a couple hundred episodes ago or more, and they were sticking up for their generation, especially with regard to time. Well, guess what, you folks that were on my podcast sticking up for these kids? They're idiots, and you're kind of an idiot for sticking up for them. Why don't you teach them how to be on time? Because that was one of the major things that why they got fired. They were late for work, and they were late on assignments. I got into it with this one Gen Z person because I said, listen to me. She said, she was telling me, time is flexible to us in this generation. I'm like, I'm going to smack you. Are you kidding me? Your store's supposed to open at 9:00 and you put a sign on there, open at 9 unless our Gen Z people decide to sleep in or they don't feel like it today. Then it'll be 9:30, 9:45. Maybe we won't open at all. That could be the sign on their door. No. And I was right because they're getting fired like crazy. Nobody wants them anymore because of these things. They got poor communication skills and they can't take feedback. They get all butthurt if you tell them they're doing something wrong, right? And that's just a portion of the things that these employers reported to this career counselor in his survey. So I'm going to turn that around a little bit. If you got all these pitiful, terrible traits about yourself, you don't belong in a workforce for somebody else. You need to work for yourself. And what's going to happen is you're going to lose your shirt or you're going to learn these skills because you won't have any money if you don't. All right. So that's why I want people to do this because they can work on their own. If they don't like you as a customer, too bad, get rid of you. If they don't like something, they don't have to deal with you. Nobody's going to give them feedback. I mean, the feedback they get is the customer won't buy from them or puts a bad review. So they're going to have actual consequences that they can have a chance to fix rather than just getting fired. There was this guy on the video showed this one girl bragging about the fact she got fired 4 times. All right. She's bragging about it. Said, yeah, I did this. I just played on my phone all day and the other people were kind of jealous of me. And, I could care less that they got fired over and over and over again. Well, guess what? If you have your own business, you're not going to get fired. You're either going to make it and improve your skills or you're going to go out of business. All right. It's up to you then rather than dependent on some corporation with a bunch of idiot managers that are your generation that don't notice that you're not doing any work and everybody loses. Okay. And then when they do notice, boom, you're gone like overnight. So I'm kind of ranting at you because if you've been brainwashed, it's not your fault. Okay. But now that you know that you've been brainwashed and you have these other options for you and your loved ones, you are a highly educated idiot if you don't take advantage or at least look into other options. Again, my school was great, but there's tons and tons of other options. However, some of them probably aren't good for you. For instance, there was another example of a nurse, graduated nursing school, gets a job at a hospital, and is on her phone all day. And is caught ragging about her patients and making fun of them on social media. That's another idiot, just an idiot kid that's an idiot with no skills. And so got fired almost instantly. All right, after going through all that trouble of getting a good trade and having skills, if you don't get the communication skills and if you can't take feedback and if you can't stay off the damn phone when you're supposed to be taking care of people dying, then you got problems. All right. And that's that's why on my success method, I said, some of you parents are raising the next generation of human losers. Human losers. They have no skills, no benefit to society or themselves, and they just exist and take up space and air. We could do without that. All right. There's enough people. We don't need any more. All right. So you might get mad at me and unsubscribe. I don't care. I already made it because I took feedback. I got skills. I'm always on time. I got a work ethic. I'm not entitled. I still work to this day and I don't even need to. I could have quit 25 years ago. I still work. All right. So wake up out there and look into the trades. And especially my school, I want, again, it can be used in concurrently with other schools, but you have a skill that's in super high demand. Every business on earth needs internet skills and digital marketing skills and all these things and shopping carts and email marketing, and blogs and content stuff and, all this other stuff. So you would have a skill to fall back on if you do get fired, or if you just don't like what you're doing, you got some way to make a living that gives you a break on these things. If you're a hermit, you can sit home and never speak to anybody and make money online. If you're personable, hey, you can have live feed and sell stuff live on live Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and you can have a podcast like this and sell stuff off of that. So it's a great thing for this generation because it covers for some of their apparent downfalls. And again, this isn't me talking. This is employers that were surveyed, and they, like I said, they don't want any new graduates. They don't want any. And the ones that they got, they fire them after 6 months because they're worthless. All right. They're a drag on the company and the morale and everything else. See? So there you go. That's my little rant. Check out my school at imtcva.org. It's the only licensed, dedicated internet and digital marketing school in the country, probably the world. And it's licensed to operate by SHEV, the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. It took me 3 years to get the license. We've been operating, I think, 13 years now. And it's a boutique school. There's not hundreds of people that you get no attention. You get high personal attention, and you got a skill. And like I said, we got people making money before they even graduate. All right. So that's the kind of thing. And the cost is, you basically could put the cost of my school on a credit card if you had to. And we even finance stuff for you. Okay. So I highly suggest you to check out my school, imtcva.org, but just look at all the other trade possibilities for you rather than the 4-year college. But if you're terrible at all these things that I mentioned, like don't go into nursing. That's a people skill person, and you can't show up at 9:30 when your shift is supposed to start at 9 and the patient dies at 9:15 and you didn't show up till 9:30. That kind of stuff. But there's plenty of trades that aren't like that as much. But mine is one of the best because you can stay home, sell stuff around the world, like I've been doing for 31 years now. So anyway, there's my little rant. If you want to unsubscribe because you think I'm too harsh, well, get over yourself and go. I don't care. All right. I made my whole career by telling it like it is. I can't be worth anything to you if I just pat you on the back for doing stupid things that are hurting you and your loved ones. All right. So there you go. So if you want to talk to me about it, email me, tom@screwthecommute.com, or my cell phone's everywhere. Text me first because I get so many robocalls I hardly pick up anymore. But there you go. Check out my school, imtcva.org, and also check out that full page. And like I said, if you think I'm an idiot, okay, great. Go check all these highly educated people in the system at screwthecommute.com/anti-college and see what they say about it. You're paying for a party is all you're doing when you go to most of these colleges. All right. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. We'll catch you all in the next episode. Maybe, unless you unsubscribe. All right. See you later.